Although sexual assault and anti-feminism incidents often make the news for a short period of time, the attention soon fades and life goes back to normal. These incidents should make a lasting impact on the community, but instead other news is declared more important. This is because there's a lack of awareness and care for victims of assault. The authors of Sexual Assault on the College Campus: The Role of Male Peer Support researched how rapes are dealt with on college campuses all across the United States. When the attacker and the victim both pay tuition to the same college that the assault occurred on, the rape is not always dealt with as a felony. How is it okay that because an attacker attends college, they are excused from a felony? Many of these criminals have become experienced felons long before college graduation. Too often they had their crimes covered up in college. No matter how the crime, it should still be treated the same way it would be if it were to happen on public property. Attempted rape still affects victims, even if it is not completed rape. How politics influence this injustice. On the UVA campus, only 4 out of 38 reported sexual assault cases had hearings held by the school. All schools should care more about their students than their reputation, because if the students are not happy or being treated correctly, their reputation will be damaged even more. Colleges choose not to hold hearings for sexual assault because when they do, they are publicly admitting that these assaults happen amongst their students and possibly even on campus. During an assault hearing held at a university, lawyers are allowed to ask witnesses questions and the victim's family and friends about the victim's previous sexual history. This is not allowed in civil court, therefore it should not be allowed in a hearing. Some of these hearings are made public, which only makes the process even harder and more humiliating on the victim. The politics of universities conflict with the proper ways us as human beings should treat each other. As more and more sexual assault cases become public knowledge, colleges scramble to pass or change policies to better help victims of assault. The motives behind colleges doing this, whether it is to genuinely help the victims or to avoid damaging their reputation, is unclear. Most college campuses have implemented programs that help assault victims. Schools with the best reforms are usually the schools that have a very high number of reported assaults. By the 1990s, more programs and policies helped and encouraged more victims to come forward. Victims hold back information because they are scared campus security or the police will not believe them. If they are reported, the cases are often dismissed because there is not sufficient evidence. It is campus security and the police's job to focus on protecting people and property. Politics influence law enforcement officers to not take assault reports serious. Victims are often blamed for drinking too much or taking drugs without knowing where they came from. The bottom line is that assault is assault no matter what outside things factor in.
Catholic social teachings that apply to sexual violence. Life and dignity of the human person. Catholicism states that all human life is sacred and that the dignity of the human person is extremely important to maintain the foundation of our society. One quote is, "Sexuality affects all aspects of the human person in the unity of his body and soul. It especially concerns affectivity, the capacity to love and to procreate, and in a more general way, the aptitude for forming bonds of communion with others. Taking advantage of all people, and specifically college students, affects how these people develop as humans. If they are treated with disrespect in a wrong manner, their abilities to love and to feel emotions disintegrate. It is much harder for someone who has been taken advantage of to form healthy and appropriate bonds with other people." Another quote is, "Rape is the forcible violation of the sexual intimacy of another person. It does injury to justice and charity. Rape deeply wounds the respect, freedom, and physical and moral integrity to which every person has a right. It causes grave damage that can mark the victim for life. It is always an intrinsically evil act. Graver still is the rape of children committed by parents or those responsible for the education of the children entrusted to them." This quote from the Catechism is saying that all rape or sexual violence is wrong, but rape of a student by a teacher is even worse. Rape is a wrongdoing that negatively affects one's composure and morality. It is damaging for life and sticks with the person forever. All people deserve respect and to be treated with dignity. The last quote for life and dignity of the human person is, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law of the prophets." This passage from Matthew says that we should only do to people what we would have them do to us. By saying this, the Bible is saying that people should perform no evil acts to others, including rape or any other form of sexual violence. Rights and responsibilities. Respecting and protecting human rights is necessary to establish a healthy community. Every person has fundamental rights to life, and respecting these rights are the duties and responsibilities of every person. One quote is, "Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy." We, as people in a community, need to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. We have to advocate for others and also treat them with respect. It is our responsibility to speak up and to fight for everyone to have equal rights. A second quote is from Isaiah that says, "Learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, plead the widow's cause." Even if we are not a victim of a cause or will not benefit from it, we still need to advocate for those who are facing these injustices. For those who have PTSD from sexual violence or cannot physically talk about their experiences, we need to believe them and advocate for justice. A last quote is from Jeremiah and says, a legitimate government upholds the rights of the poor and vulnerable. Along with the people who live in a society, the government should also advocate for people who cannot do so and promote equal rights for all people. The government should take more precautions to stop sexual violence and help protect victims with more laws. Organizations which work to get to the root cause. End rape on campus. EROC, which was founded in the summer of 2013, works to end sexual violence on college campuses. They work to do this through support for survivors, education to prevent the sexual violence, and policy reforms in different communities. The co-founders are Annie Clark, Andrea Pino, and Sophie Karasek. EROC, a nonprofit, has 5 full-time staff who work with survivors and their families spread out across the country. The 3 co-founders were also featured in the documentary The Hunting Ground, which is also about ending sexual violences on campuses. EROC connects survivors with support networks, helps file federal complaints, connects survivors with legal counsel and mental health professionals, and mentors student activists. EROC maintains the privacy of victims or those who provide information. They will not disclose any information or names to outside sources unless the person gives them the permission to do so. Safer Campus. SAFER was started by students from Columbia University in 2000. It is bigger than any one activist. It is the organization that it is today due to the generations of student activists that have taken part in it. There is a board of directors for SAFER, which consists of 2 communications co-directors, a teach-in director, an operations director, a policy and research director, a policy director, and a development director. SAFER works to strengthen student-led movements to fight sexual violence on campuses. They teach about what interpersonal and sexual violences are, have crisis resources, and list many policies that are appropriate for schools to put in place.